Absolutely massive news coming out of the Pies that the long-awaited debut of Charlie West will be happening against the Eagles. But before that debut happens, let's look into what makes Charlie West Charlie West. Before, Charlie West was this Collingwood VFL hero, kicking 6 goals and a goal after the siren against the Zebras to win them the game, or, bags of 4 goals and 3 goals and 18 goals in his first few games in the VFL. He was this South Australian intense, impressive talent and the grandson of former AFL CEO Wayne Jackson. Charlie West's football journey started in South Australia. A product of the Henley Sharks and the Woodville West Torrens, he showed signs early that he was going to be something special. A big vertical leap, a big chest out when he's taking those marks, and an elite runner for a tall forward. So get this. When he was 16, he was helping the Samfil under-18s team as a big key forward, right? Then he goes back to the under-16s after he's played a couple of games in the 18s and helps the under-16s team win a flag. So he was playing senior footy when he was still only a junior. So he was able to, from a very young age, show what he is capable of every single time he played the game. He even played a senior game in his draft year. And at every level, he just rose to the challenge, kicking goals, taking marks, and making a name for himself. In one under-18s game, he kicked 5 goals, had 21 disposals, and 10 marks in a single outing, which is obviously incredible. But then he backed it up in the grand final of that 2024 junior season, where he booted 2 goals to win another premiership. What this shows me is that he's not making up the numbers, right? And he knows how to win and how to perform on a big stage. So fast forward to draft night 2024, Collingwood have 3 picks in and around the 50s, right? And it's not looking like, we were going to get any further into the draft because we gave away our first couple of first round picks and stuff like that. We had Justin Lepich leading the draft team, and just like a butterfly flaps its wings halfway across the world and it affects, the ocean in Australia, who knows what would have happened if Lepich wasn't sitting at that trade desk, because we never draft key forwards, and we come in and we find a diamond in the rough, if you will, in Charlie West with pick 50. In a couple years' time, everyone in the AFL will be saying, how did this kid get to pick 50? How do we let him get to pick 50 and be overlooked by all of these teams?
Hey,
Charlie.
Hello.
Mate, I thought you were screening my calls.
Oh, no, I didn't feel it in my pocket.
Congratulations, mate. Welcome to Collingwood.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
Oh, amazing, huh?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I had a few people over. I didn't know what was going to happen.
Show me around. G'day, family.
At 18, he packed his bags from South Australia, moved down to Melbourne, lived with Harry Perryman for a while as well, and walked into the club that he'd soon would call home. He gets to learn from some of the very best to ever do it this year. Tim Membry, Dan McStay, Brodie Myercheck, Mason Cox, and not only is he learning from these tall forwards, he's learning his forward craft from Jamie Elliott, even like a Bobby Hill. These forward lines, these forward coaches in Scott Selwood and Josh Fraser now, Craig McRae, Scott Pendlebury. He is being mentored by some of the very, very, very elite and very best to do it at Collingwood and in the AFL in general. So let's look at his VFL career thus far in 2025. In his first game against the Swans in the VFL this season, he kicked 2 goals before his breakout game the next week against Coburg, where he kicked 4 goals and then kept backing it up. 2 goals, 3 goals, 4 goals, 3 goals. In his first 6 games, Charlie West booted 18 goals. That's an average of 3 goals a game. That is maybe not unheard of, but it's absolutely nuts, especially for a Collingwood key forward where we never recruit them. And now we're seeing this guy just mature already as an 18-year-old, which is just super, super exciting. And like I alluded to earlier, 6 goals against the Zebras was just, his biggest goal haul as well. But the elation and the joy when he kicked that winning goal after the siren, every kid's dream to kick a winning goal after the siren was just the cherry on top, and they could not, move his magnet quick enough to say that he was in the senior team.
5 already. A goal wins it. A behind loses it. Charlie West on its way. Collingwood win. Listen to the noise of the fans. Charlie West lives the dream. Collingwood take back the lead after the siren.
Something to note about these performances as well, that it was touted that Charlie West was going to debut against Fremantle all those weeks ago, but a plantar fasciitis niggle sort of kept him out of there. And Fly and the coaches have been one to say they want to set these guys up for the best performance, right? They don't just want them to play, they want them to be fit to perform as well as fit to play. And that niggle just kept him out of the team. He had to go back, hone his craft, work on that foot, getting it a little bit stronger. And now he is into this team after that 6-goal performance. Fly even said after the game against St Kilda that he was this close to giving him a debut against the Saints. He doesn't. He kicks those 6 goals and he gets his long-awaited debut against the Eagles. But let's take a step back from the hype and break down why West is such an exciting prospect. At 19, West stands at about 6'4", so about 194 centimeters, and has an absolutely solid build. Some would say a young Jonathan Brown. But it's his athleticism and aggression that really make him stand out. Scouts have described him as a contested marking key forward who attacks the contest full-chested. What that means is when Charlie leads at the footy, he goes hard and fearlessly, giving defenders absolute nightmares. We've seen it in the VFL. He'll sprint towards a kick with that explosive pace, plant himself in the perfect spot, and mark strongly out in front. His hands are vice-like, and once he has got those mitts on the ball, it usually sticks. I think the most exciting part about Charlie's game is that mix of speed and power, right? We talked about him just being fearless, like a Jono Brown, but then he has that speed and that agility, like a Brody Mychek. Like he is a dream key forward, like an old school key forward, and something that we haven't seen a lot of recently, especially at Collingwood. And we are about to see the birth of what could be one of our most prolific goal kickers. And I know that's a lot for me to say, and he's only 19 years old, but I really, really do feel that. Of course, Charlie West is still developing. He's developing on his endurance. He's developing on his field kicking. But one thing that we know for sure is when he gets an opportunity, he is going to be strong overhead, strong-willed, will throw his body on the line. Quick. He's super, super quick for a big, tall key forward, and he will give it his everything. At the draft combine, he ran that 20-meter sprint under 3 seconds. So that just shows what an elite runner he is for a tall forward, and he can get that separation from a defender. So that's exciting in and of itself. Thinking, maybe like a young Jack Darling, a young Travis Cloak, and it's a tantalizing prospect, let me tell you. And now the next chapter of Charlie West's footballing journey, and one chapter where it really starts to get going for him. A debut against the West Coast Eagles at Marvel on Saturday night. All of his hard work, all of his junior years, all of those highlights, that goal after the siren has led him to this day, and it is going to be absolutely exciting. I'm not going to expect him to kick 6 goals, 5 goals. I just want to see that competitive spirit, that hard-working ethic that we know that Charlie West has, and I will be super, super happy. The big thing is, can Charlie West perform super well or so well that he stays in the team? Who really knows? This could be like a Logan Morris 2.0 from last year, That's another very, very exciting thing, but that's a little bit for future videos. The story of Charlie West is just beginning, but it has the markings of a Collingwood fan favourite written all over it. And one thing's for sure, whenever he touches the ball, you know that the Magpie Army is going to go absolutely nuts. From the Henley Sharks to Marvel Stadium and eventually to the MCG, the Magpie Army is absolutely behind Charlie West, and we're so excited. We've been on this Willie debut journey for the better part of this season, and he finally gets to do it at Marvel, and we could not be more excited for him. Charlie West, good luck, mate. You're going to do us all proud. Go out there, have an incredible, incredible game.